The test of a man's loyalty is when he has the privilege to hold on to power. And I hate to talk about Nigeria. I've been very careful not to talk about, because I've been looking for something good in terms of governance to talk about Nigeria, but unfortunately I can't find. I don't know if Nigeria is a country. But do you know Achebe says Nigeria was a country? Nigeria is depression itself. So anybody who has any connection, or roots in Nigeria may likely be depressed. How are you all? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on wherever you may be tuning in from. I just had a meeting, just a couple minutes ago, and I was introducing myself as the blind Justice Chukwu, and the presenter was like, "Oh, don't worry, we don't discriminate." And I said, "Shoo? Excuse me, I am not introducing myself for you to give me any validation, young man, okay?" I am just introducing myself because I am proud of who I am, and I don't need any validation. It's not negotiable that I am blind, okay? Nay, I am very female. Anyway, I didn't tell him all these things, but the point is this. I am proud of who I am. It doesn't mean that I am denying the fact that blindness has its own challenges. No. But the point is that we all have our own challenges, regardless of whatever, situation. Call it disability, call it whatever. We all have our own challenges, okay? Anyway, so today I just wanted to give you guys a rundown of how my week, went. So this is the third weekend in March 2025, and initially my plan was to do a sequel of one video I did last time. For those who haven't watched it, it's called Rising Above Resilience, where I introduced myself again and again, talked about what miracle simply means and how I am an embodiment of miracle. And you can hear my mom's voice, in that video. For those who haven't watched it, please check it out, okay? It will be very inspiring, okay? And I'm doing this video, not just to inspire you to feel inspired and happy, but to see life from a different perspective, to journey with me, okay, as I move on with life and tell you guys how I feel about certain issues. I initially wanted to talk about some of my childhood experience as a blind person, how I was a wrestler despite the fact that I was blind, and so on and so forth. But I can't deny the fact that Nigeria is my root. And I cannot deny the fact that Nigeria is it a country? Please let me know on the comment section if you think that Nigeria is a country, because my aunt here in America says that Nigeria is a century and not a country. And I was like, okay, big aunt, she's old enough to be my grandmother actually. So I said, Mom, Grandma, I think I would have to invite you one day to my show to tell my people why you think that Nigeria is a century. And she said, Nigeria bụ akụkọ mgbe ochie, meaning Nigeria is an olden days story. Anyway, the point is that Nigeria is my root. even though I try all my best, to live my American life, but I still have some beautiful babes in Nigeria, and I have my family in Nigeria, and my mom is this conservative kind of human being that so much believes in Nigeria. She's been forcing me to take a different look, about Nigeria. And I would like to know, from my fellow Nigerians in the diaspora, if they have someone like that in their lives, that push them, to do something, to invest in Nigeria, even when you don't see any reason to invest in Nigeria. Peter Obi once says that the rule of law is the most asset, I would say, but he said the most intangible asset. But I would say, whether tangible or intangible, the rule of law is an asset in any democracy. Yes, but is it what we have in Nigeria? I don't know. I don't know whether we are having rule of law or rule of man. I don't know anymore, especially now that we have someone with a history of drug dealing and, dictatorialship and whatever you can call it, in Aso Rock. Okay, for those who don't know Aso Rock is like to say White House, in America. So Aso Rock is to Nigeria what White House is to the United States of America. So Nigeria is depression itself. It's not even a place that people will be easily depressed, but Nigeria is depression itself. So anybody who has any connection, or roots in Nigeria may likely be depressed. And not necessarily because we choose to be depressed, but because of what we are experiencing in terms of leadership. Okay? And this again makes me argue Peter Obi or people that align themselves with that school of thought, and even the Transparency International, that Nigeria is one of the poorest countries. I would still say no. Nigeria is one of the countries with the poorest leadership. It's important we separate these two together. So, a few weeks ago, we were dealing with the shenanigan in the Senate. And, the issue between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, I still respect her till tomorrow, even though I wonder, what she is currently doing and how she's doing it and what she intends to achieve from it, regarding her sexual harassment claims that the Nigerian Senate has refused to look into. I am a humanist. I don't want to say that I am a he for she, but I am a humanist, okay? And I believe not in GDP, so to speak, but in GNP, gross national product, as the case may be. I'm going to explain that in detail, maybe in the next video. But in summary, GDP, in my own understanding, talks about the production aspect of the economy. But the GNP talks about both the human and the capital production aspect of the economy. So I believe that we cannot thrive in any given democracy or government without GNP. That's my own opinion. So, we have one of the richest endowed location in the world. We have the mineral resources, human resources, but the irony of the whole thing is that the least amongst us, people who have been convicted, by other countries that managed to escape conviction, ran into Nigeria and become your leaders. So what do you expect? There is this English saying that only time will tell. You cannot claim that you have repented simply because you escape conviction or you escape criminal procedure, criminal process. No. If you are repentant, first, you don't even have to escape. Yes, because standing trial shows that you are sober. You want the justice process to be completed. And during that process, you are reflecting with the aim to change. But when you escape trial in a place like America and feel like, I can fly with my Nigerian passport, you come to Nigeria and you end up becoming a senator, a president, that never ever shows repentance, because time will tell. And how time tells is when you are given the opportunity to show true repentance. Then you would not be able to do that. Then that goes to show that you were not repentant at all. Many of us who are in Nigeria or who are connected to Nigeria will know it's no longer in news that the chairman of Ethics and Public Privileges Committee of the Nigerian Senate escaped conviction. In fact, he was disbarred, by the New York Bar Association for fraud and other criminality. He came to Nigeria. He contested for the office of the Senate. He got it, and a whole Ethics and Public Privileges Committee was what he was handed over to chair. Tell me if Nigeria is a serious country. Tell me if Nigeria means business. Anyway, again, this is the Blind Justice Chukwu sharing his own view. Like I said, I am the most handsome blind person in the whole universe. I am not saying it because I need your validation, but I'm saying it because it is simply the fact. Oh yes? Let me tell you one thing. Do you know that men and women are running after me? Oh my goodness. If I'm walking on the street, guys will say, "Oh, you are so cute. Oh, you're so cute." Girls will say, "Oh," I was like, Jesus. Please leave me alone. I am married to Jesus. Satan, leave me alone. But one thing is this. On a lighter note, I had a friend in school who asked me this question. He says, "Justice, does it mean that Jesus is a bi?" And I was like, "Can you explain more what you mean?" He says, Men are married to Jesus. Women are married to Jesus. Is Jesus a guy? I don't know. But the fact is that I am married to Jesus. Anyway, let's leave that alone for now. We're going to discuss more, the issues of religion. Okay. So, again, I hate to talk about Nigeria. I've been very careful not to talk about, because I've been looking for something good in terms of governance to talk about Nigeria, but unfortunately I can't find. And I have loved ones who are perishing. Like I said, I have beautiful, cute babes, in Nigeria. Okay? For those who might think that I am lonely, I'm not lonely. Just that I'm just alone. Anyway, so that's just that. So we were still dealing with the shenanigan in the Senate, the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, and now we have now seen another grand abuse of the rule of law and rule of procedure. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who was voted the same way a governor was, had the temerity to suspend the governor of Rivers State of Nigeria after declaring state of emergency. Arguments have been, all over the places, whether the president has a right to declare state of emergency. Of course, that is not the issue. The issue is whether he has the right to suspend an elected governor. Let's not talk about whether he was duly elected or not. I know that a lot of arguments have been, up in the air. Some people are saying that the governor has now met his Waterloo, that he took part in rigging Peter Obi in Rivers State of Nigeria, and blah, blah, blah. But let us not forget quickly that the test of a man's loyalty is when he has the privilege to hold onto power. Okay? Similaye Fubara, who is a suspended, an illegally suspended governor of Rivers State, was once an accountant general during Nyesom Wike regime in the same state. And we all know Nyesom Wike. For those who don't know him, this video is not dedicated for him. We can talk about him, for hours upon hours. But he is the minister of the Federal Capital Territory under this current dispensation. So he was the governor when the current suspended governor of Rivers State was serving as accountant general. And an accountant general is like Matthew the tax collector. So he knows the secret of, the inflows and outflows of cash, treasuries in the Rivers State, coffers. There was a time the anti-graft agency wanted to, arrest Similaye Fubara, and he sought refuge in the government house of Rivers State. Okay, so Governor Wike, as he then was, grant him what I can call, in a loose term, asylum. Okay, so, and I think that what is happening in Nigeria today, in Rivers State today, is that Nyesom Wike is saying that I granted you asylum, and I've not, in fact, I have not really granted you asylum, but you sought asylum and I'm still processing your asylum application. So as long as you are the governor, you are still an asylum applicant. I have the right to say, okay, I'm not granting you asylum anymore and I'm taking you out of the government house. That is the problem. And I've seen women, we love Similaye, we love peace, we want Similaye. I was like, shoo? Is that how you fight for freedom? You guys should go ask Jagaban. Ask him how to fight for freedom. You know, one thing is, well, Jagaban has the boldness to fight for freedom, to fight actually, not for freedom. But we are now discovering that all that Jagaban has been doing in the past wasn't actually fighting for freedom, but he was fighting for power. Yes. He came in through the back door to Asorok. He was Nicodemously announced and declared the president of Nigeria. And he has never surprised people. Because we know, a lot of people knew, that this guy has nothing to offer but to capture states. And again, this is a fact, not history, that a lot of countries that known drug lords have presided over usually have problems. So we were expecting something different. We were expecting that Jagaban will surprise us, but he has not. So whatever Jagaban is doing today is not a surprise. Shouldn't surprise anybody, because that is a common trait of someone with his kind of baggage. So that is, some of the things that happened, this week. The state of emergency / suspension, because I like to separate the both. Separate one from the other. Is still a trending issue in Nigeria. And I would like to ask you, watching me, listening to me, would you compare Nigeria, in case you are not a Nigerian and you are not in Nigeria, with your own country? Do you think that a president, for example, of the United States of America can declare a state of emergency to the point of suspending a governor of a state? If there is anything I am grateful for in this whole shenanigans, is that I am in America. I love the fact that I am in America. Yes, I can't help it. I wasn't so proud of saying all these things, but I've seen every reason to say it. Yeah, I've seen every reason. Nigeria, I don't know if Nigeria is a country, but Chino Achebe says Nigeria was a country. And I'm beginning to align my thoughts with that. But let me tell you guys, 2027 is on its way. What Tinubu has been doing so far is to cripple the institutions, to unleash terror, to make you guys fear. The only weapon you have now is your vote in 2027. And as long as the election will be held anyway, and will be held in a way that you have your right to vote. Because I would not be surprised when they will tell us that we will vote through our representatives. Anything is possible. Nigeria is just a dramatic theater where anything can happen. And we will start blaming ourselves. They will start blaming us for blaming Nigerians, because I'm not in Nigeria anymore, for lack of patriotism. Yes, simply because you are speaking truth to power. And I will tell you guys that no matter how falsehood runs fast, it will still come back to meet truth, where truth is busy lacing its shoes. So, my dear, I'm here to give you guys the updates about what has happened. And unfortunately, I didn't give you updates about what happened in my own life personally. But I'm gonna do that, okay? It's not out of place yet. But just so you know, this is simply the blind Justice Chukwu. And welcome to my enchanting castle, where you would hear my perspective about things as a blind person, a lawyer, a public speaker, and the most handsome blind man. Anyway, have a nice one, guys. Bye.